So I'm walking the beach, afternoon, evening after work. We're on a, you may just see that bonefish flash right there. We're on a falling tide. I've just realized that I have a nick in my leader here, so we're gonna always put those loose ends in a pocket. Gonna retie, so I've got a good system. But I was hoping that on this hard sand I'd find a few bonefish working right up into the surf line. And if you look just to my left, you got to watch where you're stepping. See, there's about a 3-foot stingray. But this pod of bonefish is sitting right here waiting for me to flip a little cast to him. So we'll see what happens. I've lost sight of them while I tied, but let's just sit here. There they are. They're just beyond. So, no room to backcast. So what I'm going to do is get my cast laid out, get some water load on it, and see if I can't just roll cast right to where they're feeding. Let's see how that went. We got a sea turtle here keeping me company. Maybe he's warning the bonefish. I lost sight of him, but I think I'll just try a blind cast right there. Let's see what it gets me. There we go, I see one now. See if I can get this right on without spooking them. Now there's a little spook, but let's see if they... And there we go. As advertised. Let's see if we can get this up on the reel. Not a big one, but... No, not a big one at all, but he didn't realize he was getting some of that drag. He'll come racing in and use his speed against him. There we go. Well, or that. I'm guessing that camera lens just got slaughtered with a gook, but nice little Indian Ocean bonefish. Get this camera lens cleaned up here. Hopefully I caught all that. Got gook all over my sunglasses too with that. So let's work my way down this shoreline and see if I can't find another. There we go. Here's another one already. In the shadow here. See if I can get the roll cast set up. And that's no fish. Shadows and palm fronds. was a group of, I think, rainbow runners. My cast spooked them, but if they'd have been if I'd have been a little more aware, I'd actually got a fly in front of them and might have had something a little different. Another stingray right here. There's a really good size of a pair of stingrays right here. So you see we really adhere to the stingray shuffle. So you can see there's two stingrays literally right there, three stingrays right there. I guess it's, yeah, three. Just hanging out in the surf zone. So you got to watch your step everywhere you go. It is miserably, well, not miserably, but it is definitely hot and humid. The wind's really died, which makes the sight fishing conditions good. It makes the not sweating bad. But that's what gives us the water temperature that gives us the bonefish and everything else. I wasn't even following my own rule. I just caught myself stepping without looking into the shadow here of this palm tree. So you always are looking for straight lines. The tail of the ray, so you can see that palm frond caught my attention, but the ray's tails will give them away in the surf lines, especially if they're laying across the wave direction. The sand ripples will be a straight line, kind of giving away the location. Right, it might be too deep down at this end. I'll go a little bit further into the sunlight and see if we can spot any fish. And if we can't, because they may be in here feeding in this wake or surf zone, the slight wave action, we'll go check the sunlight that's, or the beach that's a little bit more in the sunlight. Nice thing is these puffs of silt from the waves will hide my activity. The bad thing is it will also hide the fish. Mullet, loads of mullet around. A tide like this, we could see a GT or a school of bluefin trevally chase or herd mullet here into the shallows. I did not come prepared to fish for them. I had just a little bit of time. Here's two stingrays waiting to surprise me. I'll show you how the shuffle works. And see that? As soon as I started making the thuds in the ground, there's that tail we don't want to mess with. Come on, buddy. Give me the road. There we go. It does get a little shallower over in the next little stretch, but the shadows are getting long. It will make it hard to spot fish. But this nice, this bright white sand does make it really nice for spotting the fish as they're working along the edge. Alright, more stingrays. And the shadows are not in my favor. I kind of knew I was getting late in the day. The tide won't be out to where this is a really productive flat for about another hour and a half, which will be after dark. So I will turn the camera off for now. If I see anything interesting, we'll bring you back. But for right now, I'm just going to go down to the other end of this beach. Okay, I got movement here. I can't tell what kind of fish it is. I think it's a bonefish. We're going to put a little cast right, almost just right on top of it. So if it was a bonefish. It is bonefish. All right. So I could see just a faintest hint of an outline there. I couldn't be sure it was a bonefish. He finally figured out he was hooked. Does not like that shallow. But again, he was in here. On the tide, when it's a little bit of surge but it's clear, they like to come in here, and it's not quite done yet. I'm gonna wear him out too much, but I also don't want to bring him in too green. But if he keeps sliding up in the shallows, all right, buddy. So brought him in too green. Well, let's, a lot of these fish, holding them upside down for just a few seconds will calm them down until you can get the hook out. Yeah, I know you don't like that thing in there. So there we have it, another Indian Ocean bonefish. Okay, might have time for one more before I have to get to my dinner engagement. All right, well, since I saw some fish, camera was off for about 10 minutes maybe. Got another ray working right here in the shallows. I do prefer when it's a single bonefish. Couple of things. They tend to be a little bigger. That one was not huge, but he was definitely bigger than the first one. And then there's not little ones around to come swooping in to try and get that fly ahead of the bigger fish. So if you could, I don't know, show on film, but he turned away from my fly. Another stingray, two stingrays. Always got to look down. But that one long strip got his attention from a long ways away, and he charged the fly, and you can see I hooked him pretty deep. I prefer a jig style hook for my bonefish flies, 60-degree jig hook, but I've got a bunch of Eagle Claw 413s that are my favorite. They don't make them any smaller, and I've now got some Firehole size 6 and 8. The problem with them is they're not stainless. They're black carbon, but I think we're done. I'm not gonna. It's gonna be too deep, and I'm not gonna be able to see anything in here. So we'll make our way back and see if we spot one more. Got about 5-10 more minutes. But My hook sets on those are almost always in the upper lip and never deep, so I'm really pleased. First, always get good presentation, especially when you're using really light bead chain flies like I'm using tonight. He almost looks angry. You can see him right there, just kind of waving at. Look at that stinger. You can see his stinger coming off the tip of that tail, just daring me to step on him. That bonefish was also moving incredibly slowly, as was the first pod. They were not moving fast, so I think they're in here waiting for the surf action, or the wave action, I want to call it surf, to bring food out to them, as opposed to hunting it down. I think that's what they're doing in here. I'm no bonefish scientist, but I am a surface warfare officer, so I know something about everything. Here we go. Is this another little school of... There's that one single. Where did he go? Right there. I think it's two little ones. But a bonefish in sight is better than a bonefish somewhere out there you can't see. And now I've lost sight of them. Here comes a ray working down. We'll see if there's a bonefish behind it. No bonefish behind the ray. We'll just make one little pass down the beach here. Okay, this foam is not helpful. I think it must be what it washed out from under the mangroves at high tide is collecting in the wake zone, or the wave zone. So you've seen in some of my other videos, this is just about my normal entry point into the water, and I often fish this when it's exposed for about 150 to 200 yards out from where I'm at right now. So I'm catching fish where in probably tonight, in 2 hours, this will be high and dry. But this is the time I had to fish. obviously worked out well. Got a couple little bones to hand. We'll hit this next patch of sunshine, see if there's anybody working in there. And the shadow from the foam is playing tricks on me. I thought that was a fish moving. One thing about hunting on the edge, so I talked about how much of this would be exposed and out of water. So at these higher tides, you've got X amount of bonefish and they're spread out over Y amount of space. Well, Y is significantly increased on the higher tides, therefore your fish density drops off. If we focus on the low tides, it pushes those fish to have to or into concentration. So as Y decreases, density increases, and you can equate density to opportunity. But you can still pick off a fish once in a while if you pay attention, get out, and get on the water. You can't catch them sitting on the couch thinking about it. You can see my optimism is not letting me turn around and head back like I should, because I'm just hoping. Well, alrighty then. I'm gonna make a cast, get this fly rod or fly line rinsed off a little bit. It was in the sand and whatnot. I do love that large arbor. All right, well, thanks for tagging along with me for this little evening session. We'll be back for more.